Hello guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sonia and today is Sunday Sit Down with Sonia, and we're actually filming this on Sunday and we're going to post it today, hopefully quickly. This is Taiwo. You can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Taiwo.
Yes, so I met her recently at a, what you call that thing?
Hyde Park.
Yeah, Hyde Park. We went for like a picnic with some friends and we started talking about this show that's on Netflix that's called Dirty John. So there are two stories, Dirty John and the Betty Broderick story or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we just decided to like talk about it. But like pretty much it was this young girl. How old was she when she even got married or when she met him?
I think she just finished high school then.
Mm-hmm. She was just trying to start working and all of that.
Yeah.
And she met this guy. I think she was seeing someone else before. She was being set up with other people.
Yeah. Yep.
And this guy was just so persistent, like always on her case. And she ended up marrying him. And the marriage seemed good at first. Then all of a sudden, he met some other girl and everything just went downhill from there. And she became really crazy and ended up killing him and his wife.
New wife. Yeah, she was his wife.
New wife. They had already gotten married, right?
Yeah, they already got married, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a very, very sad thing. And we just like how people provoke you and then it seems like you're not crazy. Like everyone thought she was crazy.
Yeah.
But nobody like saw what went on in the background. Only us.
And
like,
even us as viewers, we didn't know what was going on in the background. Because while I was watching, I didn't know the guy was not happy. Like, I didn't know he was not happy. I just thought he liked working, right? So it was until he met a new person that it was, he has not been happy for a very long time.
And then they started showing us like stuff that had been happening, but probably he was not even unhappy, to be honest. He just decided to say that at the end of the day because he met another person and allowed himself to fall in love with this person. Let's talk about that, like how people feel like they just randomly fall in love with people. You're the one that really allows yourself right there. There are things you do or things you can avoid to get to that, avoid so that it doesn't get to that point. But then they'll deny it. They'll say, I just fell in love with it. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't mean for it to happen. How do you not mean for it to happen?
He kind of did because she was a secretary at a different floor and he used to go like past that floor and tell her. Because there's a part where he would pass by every day, he would say hi to her. And that's like almost like building that connection every day for a very long period of time. They didn't specify, I don't think they specified how long. So it was intentional because he saw her and he was attracted to her from the beginning. And he definitely gradually put in effort. Even giving her the job, like when he hired her and gave her the job, it was very intentional.
Yeah, everything was very intentional, right? Like he's already started, obviously you've noticed this person is beautiful. Leave it at that. Like, but maybe he was actually unhappy for him to want to pursue it. I don't know. But even if you wanted to pursue it, like, why do it the way you did it? Like, he schemed so much. He gaslighted this woman. He made her seem crazy. Like, he schemed a lot. Like, he had planned everything with his friends, his lawyer friends. And he really just wanted her like to have the upper hand and like to ruin her life. And this is someone you're supposed to have loved and respected.
And you have kids with this person.
Like, even if you want to split with this person, why not just be like fair in your dealings with this person? Why not be fair? Why are you trying to have more power? Like, she sacrificed pretty much her whole life to make sure he gets what he wants out of life, like in his career and whatever. Like, I remember that time where they just got married and on their honeymoon, I think she said something like, let's go out. And he's like, no, I just want us to stay in the room. And then she's like, but at least we need to go out because so that someone can clean
the
room.
He was like, oh, why should we hire? Like, how should we get someone to clean when you can do it? And that was when
Like,
they were still very young then. So
yeah, they had just gotten married. Like, and you could even see the reaction on her face when he said that. She was like,
yeah,
okay. Like, I'm
yeah.
sure she already, at that point, she knew that, okay, this is something.
Something sketchy. Yeah, she already knew. But I think she was in love with him a lot, and she just believed in his dreams, believed in him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So she overlooked a lot of things.
And
Like
she did.
even when he decided to change, because he was in medical school, then he switched to law school. Like
Mm-hmm.
oh, like just because he's tired. Like it wasn't like a gradual conversation that they had. He just said, "Oh, I'm tired, and you can make more money." Then he later used that against her, saying that oh, the only reason why she allowed that was because she
She
wants the
wanted
money.
money.
He brought that idea
Yeah.
up and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like why, like is it her place to even allow or something? You said you want this.
Mm.
I'm sure if she had gone against it, it would have been a problem.
Exactly.
So she was,
The way the relationship worked. It was
mm-hmm.
almost like one person made the decision, but
Yeah,
it made it seem like he made her seem like it was like they made the decision together, but he
yeah.
had an idea of what he wanted and he was doing for
And
it.
he
Yeah.
was very manipulative about
Very,
everything.
very, yeah.
Like he will use like different ways to try and get her to agree to what he's saying and sacrifice her time. Like she will help him with his papers. It's like when he was even telling someone to type out this thing and the
I
person like, how do you
know,
have
yes,
time? And then
yeah,
they now show her typing out his briefs
yeah,
for him
yeah,
and he's just
yeah.
dictating. Like you have your own personal secretary, wife, cook, cleaner, everything. And
Everything. She's doing
so
everything for him.
she was
She's
doing
even at that
everything.
point she was paying the bills too because he wasn't
Yeah.
earning any money.
Yeah, because he wasn't earning any money. She will not
Yeah.
have to pay the bills, take extra shifts, and still have to look after the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And, and even when she didn't want more kids, at first he was like, no, they can't abort the child,
Yeah, that was
How
another one.
can,
Yeah.
it was just really terrible and it was really triggering. I'm just like, women stuff are like, because this is like a con, basically.
Literally, because she was very like in that aspect of children. She's like, we're struggling. We don't have any money. Like, why are we having other kids?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh yeah, we cannot do that. And meanwhile, he wasn't taking care of any of the kids. All he cared about was his own dreams, his own goals. He didn't even care about his kids. Let's be honest, he didn't care about the kids.
And then he now even, and the thing that even that made it worse is like, even when everything was good and he's gotten to where he wanted to in his career, okay, and this person has helped you out, he didn't even bother to ask her, so what do you want to do, or even encourage her own dreams or whatever. And maybe she too somehow also just said to the fact, okay, she felt she had someone that got her back, right? So she was not even worried
yeah,
or scared that this situation will come where it will be like, this guy wants to rid me of everything.
Yeah.
When he now started talking about the divorce and whatever, the one house she wanted, he was fighting her about it. Like, why not just let her have the house or whatever, right?
Exactly. Even the house.
When she'll react, she'll insult them, she'll call them, they'll say she's crazy.
Yeah.
And him and his wife will be laughing at her.
And I found that like really foul, especially as a woman. Whether you're the new wife, the old wife, like she was doing too much. Like too much. Because guess what? That will be you next. Like
yes, you as a woman, like you should put yourself in the other woman's shoes, right? If she wanted to really be wise, she would look at his Betty, right, and be like, this babe is an older me.
Yeah, literally, she was the younger version of of Betty.
Yeah, she was. So you'll be like,
even Betty was smarter than her. Like I would say, like she was Betty's a better version of
her. And is there something I remember we talked about that probably made him resent Betty, was the fact that he wanted success so much that anytime she brought up the fact that they came from food stamps or whatever, he would get angry. So I think that's probably when he started resenting her, and he didn't want someone that reminded him of that life.
Exactly. And I remember one part of the show, she mentioned that his behavior was the behavior that they used to laugh about guys that turn 40s and they start having midlife crisis. Like they buy this like very fancy car that does not fit the family. Start buying like have a new young girlfriend. And he was doing the same thing. So it was like, okay, you're laughing. It's like, do you even know the person you're married to? You know what I mean? It's true because both of you are laughing about something that's what he wants to. Do you actually know the person? Like, because she married him at such a young age. Like she didn't know. I don't think they knew what their goals in terms of like real goals. What do I want to look for? What do I want my future? I don't think they had those conversations. She just supported him, like supported his goals, but she didn't know what those goals were. I think that's another like solid thing from the show.
And that's another lesson like us as women need to learn, right? Like even though we love someone and we have their back, like we shouldn't like sacrifice our whole lives and lose ourselves into the relationship. Like you lose yourself, you don't have anything to call your own apart from the fact that you have kids and a husband, right? Like she had nothing. She didn't have, I don't think she had savings. She wasn't earning any money. Like
nothing.
I mean, like, it's an old time thing and it's not something that will generally happen now, I hope. Like, I'm hoping that women don't just settle into being catered for completely without their own money, their own savings.
Isn't that what the whole concept of feminism is? Like, being able to choose if you want to be like a housewife that doesn't have any side hustle, just takes care of the family and being comfortable with it. And also being a business person or whatever you want to get. That's the whole concept of feminism. But I just think the repercussion of like not having your own thing, like if you can choose to be a housewife if you want to, but the repercussion is usually worse than if someone already was a business person, I think. Because even being a business person or being an employee also has those consequences because you don't have that like a lot more family time. So I think the financial repercussions sometimes usually like big when you're not.
Yeah, but the thing about being a housewife even is that just because you're a housewife doesn't mean you shouldn't find a way to have your own money or save money. Like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but you need to find a way to have money, to get money and save it. Like, and this is why that topic, we're veering off topic a little. This is why that topic of where they said housewives should be paid an allowance. And people have like argued that they're not looking after their family. Why do they need an allowance for it? Is it like a job? And this thing is actually a full-time job. This person has no other money. And this kind of situation, that's why I wish we had a guy here to like weigh in. Because this kind of situation now, that this woman has no money and she's a housewife, she's not doing anything. And this guy, and you happen to just have married a guy that's like this, like he's a scam artist that will scheme and finish you and not want to, so that you'll be totally dependent on him. Okay, I'll give you $9,000 a month. And, and not acknowledge all the sacrifices. I think the problem for her was the fact that he did not even acknowledge.
He didn't want to at all. Even when they're in court, he didn't want to.
Yeah. He even lied in court, to make her even seem crazy. But I like how a lot of women supported her because some women have understood. They've gone through that, so they could understand how that, even the psychiatrist that was talking, he was into her defense. I was like, this is, you've pushed this woman to the wall. Like, the only other way she could think of.
She's a woman. The psychiatrist is a woman. The judge is a man. The lawyer is a man. It's like you go to all this, like, it's not fair in the sense that, like, it's just like white people deciding like cases for black people. They don't know what black people go through because they're not black. It's the same thing as men trying to decide cases for women. It's not the same. They always think like men. They usually always think like men.
Yeah, they can never really put themselves in the other shoes. So she was really driven to the wall, and to her, the only other choice, and I'm sure she was not even thinking really at that point, was they have to die. Like, they
have to die. Me.
And then I'll be here, because she's already gone crazy, right? She's gone crazy. So there was no way for her to like live alongside them. And
I was wondering, like, while watching, I was like, is there something that people could have done to help her? I think at some point she just wanted acknowledgement. Like, that's all she wanted. It wasn't about the money anymore. It was just acknowledging, like, how do we support people like that? Because that happens to anybody, and that's an ongoing problem for women or men all over the world. How do we help those people? Because sometimes we might not be able to help them financially or something, right? Or even emotionally. But how do we help those kind of people so that they don't make the same mistakes that she kind of did.
And then another thing, I feel like as women, like, yes, and as human beings in general, people are going to provoke you.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot control how someone reacts or what someone does to you. But you can control how you react and how you respond to these things people do to you. So it's not easy as said.
Definitely
but
not.
it's a journey, right? It's a journey. It's something you have to keep, you know, like, it's something I've also been on, right? I'm just like, because, okay, I'm a single mom, and so the guy I had my kid with, you know, him and his family at some point were like frustrating me, and I was just annoyed, and the whole thing was annoying me. And you know how sometimes it's like, that's why some people don't want to get involved with guys that have like baby mamas, because it's like the women are always like crazy, or always coming to disturb or do something. And I could have also ended up like that, like being like that kind of person. But I just made up my mind one time. I was like, you know, it's a lot of stress on you. Emotionally and mentally. Even do that, to be chasing someone up and down, do this, do that, you know, trying to get them to act right. It's a lot of stress on you. So at some point, I just, you know, I had to block them. I just had to space, like, I blocked all of them. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to do anything, you know. And then just thought about it, like, okay, for my child's sake, I have to find a way for this to work, because...
And for your own sake, too.
And for my own sake, yeah, you know, because if I was being selfish, obviously, I would never even want to have anything to do with them. Exactly. But because I was always also thinking of my child, I was like, okay, I have to find a way to still leave the doors open for them to be in his life, and not also just be tensioned and have so much drama. It's like, not be stressed from their input or whatever. And I just decided, this was like, we can be accountable for the way we behave and the feelings. Like, at some point, you have to take accountability for your actions. And I don't know to say like, it's something she could have done at some point.
But definitely. Absolutely. She could have chosen like her mental health at some point. But like, everybody cannot act all the same. Always the question is, how do we support, like, okay, this person that chooses mental health, or someone that doesn't choose mental health? Like, what support can we offer to those people? Because like, the brain is so different. Like, even you might even want to be better, but you're like, it's just wired in a way that sometimes
like, so I'm wondering even at what point she should have just decided that, no, I don't want to take it. Because I think it's the different decisions she took that led her to the point where she got crazy.
But the guy did a lot of things. Can't you remember when he said, oh, if she calls, remember she used to call him on voice to leave nasty voices.
He'll find her.
He'll find her. Like, come on. Him too was like doing a lot. Like, even like changing the voice message to the girl, and they're not married in that period, right? Like, all that, you guys, like, the judge has told him to take that off, right? Until they get married.
But I feel like even before he started doing all that, I think, like, if we go to the beginning of where this started, once he asked her, she asked him, I don't know, I think when she asked him this, he hadn't started doing all this rubbish, and they hadn't started getting crazy. I think before the point where he said he was moving out, but then she didn't even know he was seeing someone else, but she suspected. Then when she now asked him and he confirmed, right?
I remember when he left, he said he just wants to take some time off. He didn't say they were going to divorce. They never had that conversation about divorce.
Yeah, he didn't have that. Then all of a sudden he said he wants to divorce. Then he now, I think, but before he even came and said he wanted to get a divorce, they had a conversation where she asked him, so did you like her? Did you fall in love with her? Did you cheat or whatever? And then he now finally admitted.
Oh, wait, I think that was way later though. It wasn't that. It was way later that he admitted that he was dating her, I think. And he was in love with her. And he now confessed that, because she did ask him before he moved out.
Yeah.
Remember, she told him that to fire her, and he didn't fire her. And she's like, are you sleeping with her? Are you in love with her? He said no. Then it was now later, I think they're having a conversation, and he now finally said, he was lying. Because he was making her seem like she was crazy. Like,
I think from the point she found out that this guy was cheating on her, right? Like, especially when she had already seen her friend go through this thing.
Exactly.
Like, at that point, where she found out, I feel like at that point is where she should have just been like
strategic, right? Like stop
yeah.
planning.
Yeah, but she just allowed her emotions to get the better of her. That's just it. Like, and I don't blame her, to be honest. But because by then he hasn't really started provoking her
it wasn't
too much.
Because a lot of their relationship didn't change. He was never home. Let's be honest.
He was
so it was
still the same. But once she found out, because he hadn't confirmed to her, yes, but she knew once she found out that he was. At that point is where she should have been more strategic and, you know, not allow her emotions get the best of her, because then he hadn't started provoking her. He hadn't started doing all this, taking out all his plans yet. He hadn't really started doing anything. And he was still being nice. He would still go and be with that girl and come back and look for her, and they'll go and do some fun thing. You know, he was still trying to keep the relationship. So, but at that point, I don't know, like, you can never understand, because, like you said, people are different, like what was going through her head. But, like, I'm just trying to say, like, at that point, I feel like that's why sometimes we have to be very intentional, very aware of ourselves.
Yeah. But also, she didn't have a good support system. So I think
yes, she didn't.
Her support system was always him. So it was almost like everything. She felt like everything was done for her in her head. Because remember, she's been with this guy since, like, high school, university days. So there's a lot of instances that, and it's also a period piece, right? So back in the day, you know, now there's a lot of support about women do this financially. So I also think that
we're a lot wiser, and we have we talk about a lot of these things more. So
and she didn't really have anybody to vent to, because those her friends were not like really. I mean, they tried, but they're not really like the best. Like,
I mean, at first they
didn't acknowledge her pain.
Yeah, I think at first they seemed okay. They were acknowledging it. Even that one was trying to help her find out if the guy was cheating, because she had been cheated on. And then when it got to court, all of them just abandoned her.
I was surprised by that, though. Like, I was really surprised by that. But it's all about the way their social circle works. Is that it's about
who has the money, who is in the light.
And you know, another thing that was interesting about the husband is that his job. Remember when she went to the hospital, even for abortion or something like that, and they were like, when they mentioned the husband's name, all the doctors were like, "We're not helping you. We're not doing that," because it was when he was even suing those doctors, right? Because he had a medical degree and also had legal degree. He was very vicious. So even so sometimes some guys, like the kind of job that they do, kind of determines how they treat you too. Because I'm sure at some point he saw her as work, you know, destroy the person. Like,
yeah.
When there's no human in them.
It was just such a terrible situation. Like, I just felt like I understood why she got crazy. Yeah. I totally understand it. I was just trying to, like, think about how to avoid being that emotional. Allowing your emotions take, like, you have to be really aware of what's going on. And, you know, that's the thing. So if we're more aware in the moment, we know how to, at what moments we need to, like, take the right steps. Like, if we're more aware in the moment. But because most human beings, most of us are very emotional. Like, I've also gotten to the point where, like, it's like, I'm emotional still, but I like to put logic. I like to put logic on my head first. Like, I'll first feel a bunch of things. I'll feel everything first. And I'll not sit down and ask myself, but really, so what's the best way that I'll come out with peace? Like, go off in peace, right? Like, come out peaceful. That's why I now start thinking later. But at first, I'll feel all the things. But what I try not to do is not to act or do anything when I'm feeling all those things.
When I'm feeling all those things.
Yeah,
that's
maybe just
that's choosing mental health over anything else. Like,
your peace, right? Yeah, so I'll just cry at first or whatever, and then later, like, now sit down and think about what it is I want, like, really weigh everything. But it's been a long journey to get there.
Yeah.
Right? And then some people are naturally not as impulsive in their emotions as some other people. Yeah, so some other people are a bit impulsive. And, you know, she didn't even seem like she had all those issues.
No.
Well, she didn't even seem like she would be like that. But I think she just dropped the ball at that point where she was too trusting in him and feeling like she can repair it. And that's where she just dropped the ball. And the guy just used it against her and just manipulated her, gaslighted her, and finished her life. And she didn't see any other way. Like, it's either she dies or they die.
They died.
That's just what it was. And when, I guess when she got there, she just chose them because it's like, why should I be the one to die? These people will live happily ever after.
I know, yeah.
And look at the kids.
But she ended up in prison though. Like, I don't know. I don't think she thought that part through because I guess
she ended up in prison. But you know that she can be in prison and she'll be at peace. Do you know she'll be at peace? Even though she's in prison. She'll be at she'll have more peace than knowing that they're dead and she's in prison.
I mean, if you remember the scenes even in her house, like it was always dark. So like remember how the queen used to come and sing and it was always a mess. So she probably even already felt like she was in prison.
Yeah, she's already given up on
kids,
living any.
Couldn't see her kids like that. She had to, like, he had control. So the big thing of the show was control of finance, control of kids, control of everything, even the way you think, control. So
she had given up. She had given up on having a normal life because people tried to even tell her, do things for yourself, which would have actually helped if she listened to that.
No, but she did. I think she started, but apparently there was a rule. Because you remember when they went to court and the husband made sure that the court case was sealed, right? Because he didn't want his personality to be out there, right? Like how. And she now wanted to be a teacher because she's really good at doing that. Then I think she got a job. Then it says.
And then they said that she was a molester.
That's what the court case. So I'm telling you.
I think the major thing was that his need for success was that. The fact that this babe will always remind me of the fact that I was once not successful.
He hated that. That was one thing he hated a lot. Because it was always going to like remember I took him to expensive restaurants. She was like, that's all this like, are you trying to be bougie and stuff like that? Like remember when we're broke and his face would just be like, why do you always have to
I think he started resenting her for that. Like I think that was a major thing for him.
That was a major thing for
Yeah, that it was just because like this babe's gonna remind me of my past
what does that say about him though? What does that say about him though?
It's deep. I was just gonna say it's deep because that's how a lot of men are raised. Their worth is in what they can provide and their success. And sometimes it's just like I want to be successful, and for a lot of people that success is just about money, status and whatever. And that's all I think he ever wanted. The way he used to even call his name, what's Broderick the Third. Like, he just wanted that status. He wanted that feeling like something attached to his name, that whole thing. So that being a goal of his, he just used her to get there. I don't know if he even intentionally used her or she just happened to be a willing tool.
She was a willing tool.
Like I don't want to say he intentionally used her, but she was just a very willing tool to be used, and he maximized her as that tool. Got there and wanted to like, okay, now I'm done with you.
Well, would you say like, because obviously there's like the female perspective and there's the male perspective. From his own side, would you just say what they went through is just life? That's what life like? That's just life. Like, would you just say like that's like, or would you say like he did a lot of wrong things?
I won't say that's just life because that guy really, really, really was terrible to her. Like, if it was the fact that he fell in love with someone else, even the fact that, like we said before, there's a point where he could have avoided that happening. Okay, you now didn't avoid it. You allowed yourself to fall in love with someone else. Fine, that's the difference. Is life, right? Those things happen in life. But the other steps he now took, the planning, the scheming, that one is not just life. That one is like a con artist brain. That is you just being terrible and manipulative and all of that. So that part is where I feel like he messed up as a human being, like because he could have made that thing better. Like, yes, he will have some fight out of her, but he didn't need to get to that point, right?
I'm thinking from her perspective, there was no amount of money that he would have given her that she would have been happy with.
Yeah.
Like, because what she wanted was the marriage. Like, that's what she wanted. Because even with the new girl, I was a side chick because she became a girlfriend and became wife. Even with that, what she wanted was the marriage. And he couldn't give her that anymore. Because he didn't want anymore. That marriage defined her who she was. That was
yes, I guess that was the only thing.
Her status in the community, her home, her children. That was what defined her. Because she didn't have anything else.
So apart from, I feel like now saying that the lessons we have learned is from the man's side, obviously try and be fair, but like from the particular situation, that and her in particular, no matter how fair you would have been, it probably wouldn't have worked because she wanted that marriage, and like you said, it defined her. So the major lesson is for the women: do not lose yourself to your marriage, to your being a parent. Like, you're still an individual, even though you're someone's wife, you're someone's sister, someone's mother. You're still an individual, so you still need to find things for yourself that keep you going. And other people should not define who you are. That's the major point, right? Like, for both men and women, but most importantly, women in this case, other people shouldn't define who you are. Like, you should find things, like, I guess the fact that she was able to help him out and build him up and raise the children is something that defined her. Like, she's a support system, I guess. That's who she is.
They need her. She was always doing everything because the mother was never home, right? So she, even the house, managing his stuff, even his clothes, everything. So she's doing a lot, right, for the family, but nobody, even the kids, not acknowledging, to be honest.
Because it was the older kids. I think the younger kids still, the boys, because they were younger, they still wanted their mom and still loved her and whatever, but they didn't want the fighting. So daughters did not care because they were following who had the money and the new young wife that is more closer to their age that they can relate to, and that will buy them, give them all the tips they want about men or whatever.
Exactly.
So because the girls were older, they didn't send the mother. In fact, the way they were talking to mom.
Remember how we're talking about how the guy was like manipulative and everything? You know how when I think in the show, it said the day that the person, like, he stopped living in the same house was like the day of separation or something like that. And so she took the kids to the new house, or the house that they usually go to, vacation home, and they were like, there was rats in the house. And he abandoned her with the kids, and she now said, that if he doesn't come to take care of the kids, that if he doesn't come to take care of the kids, that she's going to leave, and she left. And so that was like another way of like taking the kids away from her permanently. I was thinking about that was very manipulative because she didn't know anything. That was
very, very manipulative. And because the kids are older now, he has more money now. It's easy to take care of the kids. He can hire people to do all the dirty work and whatever. So that's why he was like, okay, yeah, sure. You think I'm running away from taking care of my kids? Bring them, and took them. And I low-key felt like he's the one that planted the rats in that place.
Me too. That's what I'm thinking. I think he's the one that put the rat there.
Although they didn't confirm that, but I just felt like he's the one that did it. Like, as soon as I saw it happen, I was like, this guy, why? Like, why are you just disturbing this woman? Like, why are you stressing this woman out? So anyways, let's round up. Like we said, women that are watching this, ladies that are watching this, please, let's not lose ourselves in relationships, whether it's a friendship, whether it's to our jobs, whether it's being parents, let's not lose ourselves. Like, we need to find value in ourselves. We shouldn't tie it to someone like if this person is not there, then we have nothing, or we're nothing, or we don't know who we are without this person. I think that's the major issue, like losing yourself in that way. It's like, if you don't have this guy now, you're nothing. If you don't have children, you're nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, that's the problem. And then for guys, I don't even know what to say to guys.
Be nicer, be kinder, be supportive.
Yeah.
Like,
put yourself in the woman's shoes. Like, turn the tables around. If it was you, like, what is the fair treatment you would want? Like, I don't understand why it's so hard for people to practice that do unto others as you would want them to do to you. It's really hard.
Exactly.
It's really hard for people. That's one thing that I always try to remember. I mean, there's sometimes I want to react like a fool or be petty or do any nonsense, but I just try to remember it and just be like, okay, what would I want? Or if it's too much stress, I just ignore the whole situation.
Exactly. It's more work to be mean than to be nice. Like,
yes, it's actually more work
so
to
why just go the easier way?
Petty, and it's actually more work when I can just tell you what is on my mind, and I don't like this. If you like, don't acknowledge it. That's your business. Me, I've said my own, and I'll move on and be at peace because I've aired out my grievances. But that's another whole topic. We'll talk about that later. The whole power play, not wanting to express yourself because you don't want to give the person power. All those But that's another.
But also, I think another thing is speaking up. Like men need to talk and say what they want and what their vision is and what their goals are. Speak up.
Be more expressive. A lot of men are not expressive, you know.
Yeah.
There are some men that are trying to be expressive and talk, and they talk with you. But then there are a lot. Your face has gone black, dark.
Oh.
Then a lot of people that men are not expressive about their emotions, about what they want, even from a relationship with you and whatever. Like, men need to speak up more. But yes, guys, please leave comments. Let us know what you think about this. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch it and let us know what you think about it. Like, what lessons do you think we're supposed to learn from this and how we can apply it in our lives? Because this is something that happens to people and has been happening and will probably still happen. So we need to find a way to support ourselves as women and even like as men, and just be nicer people generally to one another. Because I feel like divorce is something that happens. It doesn't have to be messy. I just feel like it doesn't have to be messy. We can find, if we both ever loved and respected this person, we can find a way to make it work without it being so messy. Even though one person might want it and the other person will not want it, which is when it usually gets messy.
Yeah, which is when it usually gets messy.
Yeah, when one person wants to work. It's easier when both of them have acknowledged that it's not working. But when one person still wants it, that's a problem. So I guess it also has to do with the way we raise, because even her mom, the way we raise our children, our daughters, right? Her mom puts in her head, marry, you have to find a man. You know, when you're raising a daughter to be like that, that's when they tie their worth to
men,
mother
and a wife.
So, and I think that's what made her feel she had to sacrifice her whole life to support him, because, you know, all the stuff her mom has said or whatever. So that's another thing we need to learn. Raise our daughters better, not to think like that. Raise our sons not to feel like they deserve a woman's labor.
Exactly.
Exactly, like it's their right to have a woman right. Over them. We have to raise our sons in that way, you know. Me, I'm already raising my son just showing that me as a mother, as a woman, you don't deserve my labor. I mean, I'll make sure you're comfortable and you have everything you need.
Which is fair.
But you don't deserve every labor. Like, I can't be doing everything. You have to do stuff. You have to be self-sufficient, exactly. So even at this young age, I'm trying to teach him that, you know. So, but yeah, thank you, Taiwo.
Thank you. This is fun.
I know, right? We'll do more.